The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well. Your purpose in life is to find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul to it. The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all. The purpose of our lives is to be happy. The mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but in finding something to live for. Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. The purpose of life is not to be taken from the cradle to the grave safely, but to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride." The purpose of life is to contribute in some way to making things better. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life. The best way to predict the future is to create it. I am here for a purpose, and that purpose is to grow into a mountain, not to shrink to a grain of sand. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. I find that the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. The best way to predict your future is to create it. You have within you right now everything you need to deal with whatever the world can throw at you. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. The purpose of life is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. The biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. Success is not in what you have, but who you are. You were put on this earth to achieve your greatest self, to live out your purpose, and to do it courageously. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. Your life does not get better by chance, it gets better by change. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. The purpose of life is not happiness alone, but also the development of character. If you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion, for your passion will lead you right into your purpose. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. The purpose of life is not to be taken lightly. Life is really about a spiritual unfolding that is personal and enchanting, an unfolding that no science or philosophy or religion has yet fully clarified. Life is too important to be taken seriously. Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. The purpose of life is not happiness alone, but the perfection of human character, and the two are not necessarily compatible. The purpose of life is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for a newer and richer experience. To live a creative life, we must lose our fear of being wrong. Life is a journey that must be traveled, no matter how bad the roads and accommodations. The meaning of life is not to be discovered only after death in some hidden, mysterious realm. On the contrary, it can be found by eating the succulent fruit of the tree of life and by living in the here and now as fully and creatively as we can. In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Life is short, and it's up to you to make it sweet. The purpose of life is not happiness alone, but also meaning. The meaning of life is to give life meaning. The meaning of life is to create meaning for your life. Life is about making an impact, not making an income. Life has no meaning unless one lives it with a will, at least to the limit of one's will. Your life is your message to the world. Make sure it's inspiring. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. the soul should always stand ajar, ready to welcome the ecstatic experience. I think the purpose of life is to be useful, to be responsible, to be honorable, to be compassionate. It is, after all, to matter, to count, to stand for something, to have made some difference that you lived at all. It's not what you get out of life that counts. Break your mirrors. In our society that is so self-absorbed, begin to look less at yourself and more at each other. Learn more about the face of your neighbor and less about your own. The purpose of life is to discover your gift. The work of life is to develop it. The meaning of life is to give your gift away. Life is a daring adventure or nothing at all. The only journey is the one within. Adventure is worthwhile in itself. Every exit is an entry somewhere else. The journey, not the arrival, matters. To travel is to discover that everyone is wrong about other countries. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. It is good to have an end to journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end. Every man's life ends the same way. It is only the details of how he lived and how he died that distinguish one man from another. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The only impossible journey is the one you never begin. Not all those who wander are lost. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. To know oneself, one should assert oneself. A journey is best measured in friends rather than miles. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. It is not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. The more I traveled, the more I realized that fear makes strangers of people who should be friends. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Our life is what our thoughts make it. To find yourself, think for yourself. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. We travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. Don't watch the clock. Do what it does. Keep going. Don't count the days. Make the days count. Success is not how high you have climbed, but how you make a positive difference to the world. It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. If you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission. I didn't fail the test. I just found 100 ways to do it wrong. Your purpose in life is to find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul to it. Your purpose defines you. Reveal it, and you will understand who you are. Your calling is where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. Your mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style.